PC fam, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Chill with Chill. We got a lot of stuff to get into today, and we're not gonna waste no time. We're gonna jump straight to it. First of all, everybody, happy to see y'all, man. It's been a couple of days. Feels like years. Chill. I've been watching the panel, of course. Friday episode. You know how
But even
Fridays
when you
are
ain't here, you
yesterday.
here, big fellas. What you saying?
Of
Even
course,
even when you ain't here.
I've been active in the chat. On Wednesday, I was a little active in the chat. Friday, a little active in the chat. Thursday, not so much. But I don't want to waste no time, y'all. Let's talk about the shot heard around the world. I see that you were on playback that night. Ron, Penn, King Capers. Was that MTEL? I think MTEL was up there too. Shout out MTEL. So the Pacers go up 1-0. I know most people did not expect that. I don't think you expected that, did you?
No, I did not.
No.
I did not.
Okay, so can we just talk about that game? You want to just give a brief overview or whatever? How'd you feel about that? I've been hearing rumblings. The title is based on the rumblings I've been hearing. And I was I don't know about all around the world, just where I was at. I just came. I was back at home for a couple of days. In California, chill. They're saying Pacers in 6.
And of course
they're saying Pacers in 6, chill.
Of course, they say
what are they doing your way? What's going on down out there?
Oklahoma City in 6 still. Okay. There's still people that are saying Oklahoma City in 6. I'm sticking. I said Oklahoma City in 5, and I'm still standing on that, Ox. I don't have Oklahoma City losing another game in the series. I don't. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, but I mean, I've seen this movie before. We started this series with everything that Indiana does, Oklahoma City can counter it. Everything. From the transition offense to the transition defense to the half-court offense to their one-on-one guys to their bigs. Everything you have, we got an answer for it. And we have an answer for it in a significant way. Only except that's not what happened. And I have to accept the fact that even though we are in the finals, and I know you don't want to hear this, Ox, because, again, it's the NBA Finals. J-Dub is in year 3. Chet is in year 2. Casey Wallace is in year 2. We got a bunch of kids in the NBA Finals. And I've mentioned this in the past. What team has won the NBA Finals with a bunch of kids at the helm? Well, that was in 77 with the Blazers. They had the youngest team in NBA history. That was almost 50 years ago. Since then, you ain't winning with kids, right? Since then, you're not winning with kids. But I feel like this Oklahoma City team, even though I thought that J-Dub was still a year away, because him offensively, I feel like he hasn't developed yet. I feel like he hasn't developed that confidence yet. I feel like he's got all of that stuff that's necessary to get to where he needs to get to as an offensive player. Defensively, I feel like he's only going to get better because he's going to get smarter. He's going to understand the game even more. I just feel like he's still a year away from that. Same thing with Chet. This is the defense.
But real quick about J-Dub, though. I have a hard time with accepting that logic for J-Dub because he's shown in these playoffs that he can do it. I mean, I think me and you were on the same page with J-Dub going into the playoffs, where we were on the same page as for him to be their second option. I don't think that he's going to be able to make it through and perform at a high enough level due to lack of experience and just due to being a pup. I think he showed in the Denver series, and I think he showed in that Minnesota series. He in fact can do it. So I just have trouble, and I'm not saying you're trying to bail him out, but I have a little trouble giving him any bail for game 1. He's shown that he can play.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the Denver series, Ox, because he had a 3-game stretch in that Denver series where he shot under 40%. So he wasn't good in that series. So he has shown me stretches where he's young, and he's shown me stretches in the playoffs where I'm young and I'm still trying to figure this thing out. This isn't a seasoned vet here. I'm not trying to throw him bail. There's a difference, Ox, between reasons and excuses. All right, because excuses are something that's repetitive. And after if you hear excuses over and over again, after a while you're gonna be like, all right, yo, chill, enough already with this. This is nonsense. Reasons, which is what I'm looking at with J-Dub, is what I've seen with him, right? Which is what I've seen with him. And Oh, real quick, she fucking did it. I'm sorry to interrupt. Coco just won the French Open.
Oh, really?
She beat Sabalenka. She won the French Open.
That's
I've been
what's
watching
up.
this.
Shout out to
I've
Coco. Shout it out.
this all month. Sabalenka is the #1 player in the world, and Coco
Yeah.
beat her. But anyway,
I was about to ask you what you was watching. I'm like, I gotta know.
I'm sorry. I was watching the French Open. I'm a tennis fan, and I was watching the French Open, and Sabalenka came into the tournament a huge favorite, and Coco ended up beating her. And Coco's been to the semifinals and the finals like 3 or 4 times, and it's the first time she was able to break through. So this is dope. I'm seriously charged about that. But anyway,
Coco's what, 19 now?
20.
20? Okay.
Yeah,
that's
she's a kid.
Shout out Coco.
And back to what I was talking about with J-Dub, right? I feel like, and I said this before the season started, this was why I didn't think that they were going to win the NBA championship off the strength of, I didn't think J-Dub was there yet. I thought that when they saw Boston in the NBA finals, I thought J-Dub was going to be the difference, and why they didn't do it, because I didn't think offensively, I didn't think that he could compete consistently with what was going on with the NBA finals and with the Boston Celtics. And like game 1 had shown me that, at some point you do have to get involved in what's going on. You got to be more consistent. But he wasn't. But there were stretches during that game where I felt like Oklahoma City was in control of that game. When we got into the fourth quarter specifically, when TJ McConnell threw that turnover and gave it to J-Dub and they went up 14 with 9 minutes, I was like, all right, they're in control of this game. Even though I've seen Indiana countless times, Ox, come back in these playoffs. I've seen them 3 or 4 times come back from being down. I'm thinking to myself, they're in control of this game. This was a game, and a quick overview for you. This was a game that I felt like Oklahoma City had from start to finish. I do think that Indiana did a great job in their transition defense. You guys talked to me about the live ball turnovers, which is what Oklahoma City does in terms of turning that into buckets. But they also turn dead ball turnovers into buckets too. So when people throw the ball out of bounds, they turn that into buckets, right? So when you get a shot clock violation, they turn that stuff into buckets too. Now, don't get me wrong, Ox. The majority of their offense in terms of turnovers, in terms of buckets, it's from live ball turnovers. But for Indiana to have as many turnovers as they had, I was blown away by the fact that Oklahoma City didn't capitalize on that. They had a pretty sizable lead. I thought Tyrese Halliburton was held in check for the majority of the game. And when I say held in check, Ox, point guards don't have to score 35 or 40. Point guards don't have to score 25 or 30. But I felt like they stayed in front of him and made things difficult for him. They made him get off the ball. They made other guys make plays. And those other guys did, Ox. Guys like Obi Toppin, who early looked like he might not be viable in the series. Like, I don't know if we can play him. If this is what I'm going to get from him, he might have to come sit down for the series, not just for the night, but for the series. But he ended up showing us that I am available to play, and I'm one of the better players in this series. Same thing with Cat. With Turner.
Right. I'm curious to know, like your take on game 1 for Tyrese, because a lot of I've seen even where people will show the clip where he made that big shot, right, and then say, well, don't let this distract you from the fact that he shot this from the field, or he had this many points and up to this point, or that he played like ass, or whatever they're saying. So how do you feel about that? Because my thing is this the playoffs, we're here to win, you know what I'm saying, and knocking out a big shot doesn't erase anything you did earlier, but you got the job done, right?
Yes, you did get the job done. Right? He had some uncharacteristic turnovers early. I think he had 3 turnovers early. That's not what Tyrese Halliburton is about in the Knicks series. I think he averaged 2 turnovers a game for the series. I thought that they did a good job in speeding him up and making him turn the ball over. So with that being said, right, with that being said, once he calmed down, that second half I felt like was not necessarily a masterclass, but I felt like that second half was really good. They did a much better job in taking care of the ball. I think that with the addition of TJ McConnell, because I haven't seen him and TJ McConnell on the floor at the same time, but with him and TJ McConnell on the floor, I felt like that calmed him. I felt like that gave him another ball handler that he could go to where he didn't have to have all the responsibility, even though he likes that. But in this situation, for that stretch, I felt like he was able to have another guy on the ball where he can make plays, and then I can also make plays, and that takes the pressure off me, as opposed to me being a primary ball handler and making plays for everybody else. I think that calmed him down, and it really helped. And I thought that he did such a good job in surveying the defense, in understanding exactly where guys were, where he saw Obi Toppin, who they voluntarily left open, but he saw Obi Toppin open consistently, and they kept getting him the ball, and he was knocking down shots. I don't think Tyrese Halliburton was awful yesterday. Ox, we got to get off this logic that when a guy isn't 25 or 30 a game or 30 in a game, that he had a bad game. No, that's not true. When I can get a 15 and 11 game with 1 or 2 turnovers and be responsible for 40% of the offense and have a good game. I mean, we live in an era where guards, point guards in particular, well, if you ain't scoring 30, then you didn't have a good game. That's just not true. Not true at all.
Right. And for me, and I've said this multiple times, and I'm gonna keep saying it, and I'm gonna keep standing on it. I don't want guys like Tyrese Halliburton, this game he had. I don't want him to care about what I'm gonna say about him the next day, as far as if you had a good game or not, particularly in the playoffs. I don't care. Like I don't want these NBA players to be concerned with what Stephen A. Smith and other people are going to say when they break down the game. I want you to be concerned with winning basketball games. If that means that you played terrible for 46 minutes and your team held it down for you, and then in those last 2 minutes, you knocked down some big shots, made some clutch free throws, got a steal and a rebound, whatever it is. If it contributed to winning that basketball game, that's what's up. Now, obviously, you want to play good. You want to have good basketball games. You want to limit your mistakes. You don't want to be throwing the ball over. You want to play good. But at the end of the day, I don't want that to matter.
And I felt like he played winning basketball, Ox. I felt like he did the things necessary in order for them to win. Okay, he wasn't 20 and two turnovers. No, he didn't do that. But I can tell you one thing he did, Ox. He got on the glass. That's going to help us. He 100% got on the glass. They had three of their 4 guys had 10 rebounds or more in terms of their starting 5. And Tyrese Halliburton was one of them. When you limit Oklahoma City's second chance opportunities, then I think you give yourself a real shot to win. And I felt like Tyrese Halliburton down the stretch of that game, particularly in the second half, but particularly down the stretch of that game, Tyrese Halliburton was on the glass. He made sure that I'm going to rebound the basketball. I'm going to give us opportunities to score in transition. And when they slow us down, I'm still going to secure the rebound. The rebound, and I'm not going to give them second chance opportunities. I thought he was really good in the second half. I do. The first half, he just looked like he was jittery. He looked like he was playing fast. But in the words of my man Big Ox, play ball. And that's exactly what Tyrese Halliburton started doing. He recognized that, this court is 94 feet by 54 feet in Indiana and in my hometown. It's just a whole bunch of people in here. And in the end, it's basketball. Once he recognized that, he calmed down. I felt like he got so much more involved in the offense and just got those guys ready.
Right. And so, Chill, do you believe that if Chet and J-Dub play a little better these next games, it's going to be pretty easy for OKC to get through this series?
I felt like Chet was a non-factor. Just from the defensive standpoint, I felt like he was a non-factor. You dudes roasted me when I said Chet was food at the rim, and completely took it out of context when I said he was food at the rim with Anthony Edwards. That's who I specifically was talking about. I was talking about Anthony Edwards, who Anthony Edwards threw him through the rim earlier in the season. I felt like Anthony Edwards could score at the rim against him. That's number one. Number two, on Thursday, he didn't do a good job at protecting the rim. Those guys got downhill. They got in the paint. They got to the rim. They pushed him around. When I say that a guy is food, that doesn't mean that he can't guard at all. David Robinson was food at the rim against Olajuwon. You can, in the words of my man Ox, you could be a Buffalo and still be food. It can happen.
Right. I agreed with you so much on that take, Chill, that people took it like it was mine. Like I had to adopt the take like I was the first one to say it. You know what I'm saying? Like Sure, I think so. All predators at some point can become prey. So it's like you could be a great rim protector, but you're gonna get ate up. Like it's gonna happen. So
Mutombo was food at the rim at one point. Yes, he was. No doubt about that.
and that
Lajuan.
and chill. That's not saying that tomorrow he can't come and shut the paint down. That's not saying that he can't come tomorrow and have 4 blocks and deter a bunch of shots and eat the glass and keep dudes. You know what I'm saying? So chill. You saying that on Thursday has nothing to do with Sunday. And I just need people to start being able to understand that. I need people to start being able to compartmentalize like this game and this game, this quarter and this quarter, this half and this half. You know, so I still think Chet's a great basketball player, but I do think he's gonna have to. He's definitely gonna have to make up for that game tomorrow. Chet's gonna have to play much better for them to win. I'm not sold on the OKC in 5. Definitely not sure. I think it's more than likely OKC in 7. You know what I'm saying? I think OKC will probably still win this series, but I don't. I'm like what Jordan was saying yesterday. I wanted to be up there just so I could kind of try to be the in-between guy when it's like I feel like mediate. I think sometimes it's just like so here and nobody wants to come together and like, okay, well, this is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I think that the gap on offense for the Pacers is bigger than the gap on defense for the Thunder. You know what I'm saying? Like
offense is bigger than the gap on defense. That's interesting. Considering
I
Oklahoma City half court offense. I'm following you. Keep going, Ox. Keep going.
You know, I feel like OKC is gonna. I'm sorry. I think Indiana is more able to work against that defense. Like I don't think that defense is. It was a lot of turnovers and whatnot, but still, I think they got enough guards, enough ball handlers to where they can still make it through. And I think also on the other end, I think Indiana's defense is better than decent. I think it's pretty good.
They got a good defense. They do.
And I'm not sold on OKC's offense. I haven't been at all this whole time. I'm not sold on it.
And I think that's largely due to OKC creating a lot of their offense from turnovers. Now, don't get me wrong. Ox, we do have the league leading scorer in the game. We do have another guy that's a 20 a game guy on their crew. We do have another guy who can stretch the defense. We got another guy who comes off the bench and Aaron Wiggins, who they basically got for nothing. And
who's the defensive stretcher you're talking about? Who's stretching defense?
Aaron Wiggins is stretching the defense. Isaiah Joe is stretching the defense. Like I'm talking about Oklahoma City's offense, particularly in the half court.
Right.
So Isaiah Joe is stretching the defense. Aaron Wiggins is stretching the
defense. Those two dudes are liabilities on the other end.
100%. Well, we're just talking about the offensive end. To your point, and to your point, you're talking about Indiana's defense, right? You're talking about Indiana's. You're talking about Indiana's defense. On the other end of the floor, on the other end of the floor, Indiana's defense. What Oklahoma City does when they spread you out, because SGA, he requires so much attention. And he requires you to have so much focus on him where your defense shifts and he gets off the ball so quickly. He's not Tyrese Halliburton as a distributor. I'm not going to argue that. But he gets off the ball so quickly that he makes things a lot less difficult where J-Dub could get a wide open shot. Aaron Wiggins can get wide open shots. When I get Chet in the half court, he's blowing by Miles Turner. And Miles Turner, who actually did better, don't get me wrong, Chet isn't Cat getting to the rim. I'm not going to argue that point. Chet isn't Cat getting to the rim, but he can get by him because I feel like he overruns plays a lot of times. And he did that a couple of times. I don't think Chet took advantage of that. I think Chet was relying a lot on his jump shot, and I think he was more concerned. About getting back on defense. I think that was a point of emphasis. That's why you didn't see him get to the offensive glass as much. So I feel like this Oklahoma City offense, Ox, it was a lot left to be desired. And I think you're going to see more of that tomorrow night. I think you're going to see more of J-Dub getting in. I think you're going to see more of J-Dub playing in the mid-range. I think you're going to see more J-Dub getting downhill and getting to the rim. I think you're going to see more of Chet shooting in the mid-range and at the long ball line to spread that defense out. I think you're going to see a different OKC offense than you saw in game 1.
Sure, and that could be so. I'm open to that. Like I said, I think I'm pretty sure I got OKC winning the series. But chill. I mean, as far as the offense that OKC was generating the other night, shit, we're I'm fine with Lou Dort shooting the ball still. Like we're still got to live with that.
I wish
You
I
know
had
what I
my
mean?
hat, Ox, because if Lou Dort's going to make 5 threes every game,
Right.
you got it. Absolutely, I'm not
And,
gonna argue that at all. No doubt about
and
that.
he's not gonna make 5 threes every game. You know what I'm saying?
He
So
isn't.
like I'm fine with that. Live with that. Like if Lou Dort's gonna shoot, keep shooting, Lou. You know what I'm saying? We're focusing on packing the painting and all that type of stuff. So
Yes.
So y'all heard it here first. Chill does not have the Pacers in 6.
No, I do not.
But a lot of the country does. Chat, I want to know what y'all think, man. Y'all let us know in the comment section, in the chat right now. What do y'all think about this series? Who's winning and in how many games? Also, we will be on playback tomorrow watching game 2. You don't want to miss it. The playback on game 1 was extremely entertaining. A lot of back and forth. We had Ron thought he was a Chippendale dancer or something. You know what I'm saying? It got crazy there for a little while, y'all. We'll be back tomorrow on playback, man. Don't miss that, y'all. Make sure to tap into that. Chill. Speaking of game 2, what are you expecting to see from just the standpoint of coaching? Maybe like is Mark Dagenhart gonna start iHeart? Is he gonna go small again? Sometimes I think Coach Dagenhart he overcoaches a little bit sometimes. I think he might be such a good coach that he might outcoach himself every once in a while.
Which is a fact. You can do that. You can overthink things from time to time. But I feel like this is a situation where, you roll with what got you here. I can appreciate matchups. And Ox, you've said this to me a number of different times. This guy can't play in this series. This guy, we got to sit him down for these many minutes. Ox, we're not built to beat Indiana. We're not built to beat the Denver Nuggets. We're built to win the NBA championship. You got to stop us you got to stop us from doing what we do, because this is the system that we play in. And if iHeart is a part of that system, which he is, with the double big lineup with him and Chet, then this is what we're gonna go with. If you got small guys, we're gonna stick with what we have. Now, I feel like sticking with iHeart, and I feel like consistently going with that double big lineup with iHeart in the middle of the paint, which is where he was the most effective. And he wasn't in game 1 because I don't think that they went to him as much, and I think that was something that Indiana keyed on. I'm not going to argue that. I think that's something that Indiana keyed on, but we still have to do what got us here, right? SGA is still the best one-on-one player that we have. J-Dub is still one of our best, if not our best slasher. Chet is still our best rim protector, rebounder, defender in the paint, who can stretch the defense. iHeart is our guy who gets us mid-range and mid-post buckets and will do the dirty work. And that's who we are. I'm not going to switch up my style just because Indiana got a bunch of young guys and small guys. I think that's the counter. He ended up out coaching himself because Rick Carlisle went to that small ball lineup. Not Rick Carlisle. Coach Dagenhart went to that small ball lineup. Rick Carlisle stayed big. He stayed with Turner, right? He stayed with Pascal Siakam. He stayed with that big lineup because the small guys, the small guys that you have, we got big guys that can do that too. And we're going to stick with our big guys. I feel like he outcoached him in that aspect. But what I expect from Mark Dagenhart, I expect him to get back to basics. I expect him to get back to what got us here. Get back to what we do well. Turning over the basketball, capitalizing on those turnovers, being good in the half court, running our half court offense, having more precision in our half court offense, being more productive around the rim, being better in our two-man game, knocking down open shots, flying around on defense in the half court a little bit more, where we're not giving up as many wide open threes. We're going to give up shots. I'm not saying that we're not going to we ain't closing out on Obi Toppin like he's Steph Curry or Klay Thompson. No, we're not doing that, Ox. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to let him just stand at the long ball line by himself and shoot wide open shots. I'm gonna give him some room, just like I'm gonna give Mathurin room, just like I'm gonna give Nesmith room. But we have to be a little bit more aggressive in our defense. I expect Oklahoma City's game plan not to change. I just expect them to get back to who they were. Because let's not forget, Ox, they were in control of this game. They were plus 14 with J-Dub playing not being able to score, with Chet not being able to score. We got those two guys 8 for 28, Ox. Those two dudes, 8 for 28 from the floor. That's not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done. So we got to do a better job in putting ourselves in spaces where we can be more productive as scorers. And I think that they get back to basics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do like the point that you made about Carlisle sticking with his guns. I don't like when I see coaches, especially when it's like a lineup thing. Like when you see a coach make a sub, and you're like, oh, I got to get him in now because he put him in. Like unless you're doing one of those situations where, like for instance, with Jokic playing the Clippers, if you're doing a situation where every time Jokic is on the floor, I want Big Zoo on the floor to match up with him. I can understand that specific matchups. But when I see a coach see another coach make a sub and then you instantly like, oh, I got to match that. I don't like that for coaches. So I like that Rick Carlisle stuck with his guns and continue to play ball. You don't always have to adjust your lineups and adjust because of them. You got to make them play your game sometimes too. And if they don't want to play your game, then beat them with yours. You know what I'm saying? That's I like to see that. So Rick Carlisle, shout out to him. He's still coaching.
Ox, you popped me with the jab. I knew the jab was coming. That doesn't mean that now I got to start throwing haymakers at you. No, that's not my fight. That's not the way I fight. You popped me with the jab. Okay, all right. I knew that was coming. So keep fighting the way you know how to fight. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I stand with that too. So that's that. You know, game one was super exciting. Shout out to the Pacers for pulling it through. Although I don't think the Pacers played their best basketball, they were still able to win. So I want to see game two. I want both of these teams running on all cylinders. You know what I'm saying? I want all these teams out there at their best. I want to see the best Pacers versus the best Thunder, and let's get it on, y'all. I'm excited to see that. Yes, so we do got some other things going on. Just some news in the league. A lot of people are really anxious about certain trades and whatnot that's gonna happen. Apparently the Cavaliers are not interested in any trade talks. They don't want to trade for anybody. They don't want to trade anybody away. Is that the right move for the Cavs front office? Do you think that they're just good to run it back? Do they need to trade Darius Garland? Because a lot of people have a problem with that 2-guard lineup, especially with both of those guys being 6'3" and under, you know?
No, I don't have a problem with it at all. And the reason why I don't have a problem with it, Ox, is because we still had a top 10 defense. We still had the best I think the best offense or top 3 offense in the league. Not only did we have a top 3 offense in the league, we had 3 all-stars. The problem is toughness. That's it. We got to get tougher. That's our problem right now. And that has nothing to do with now we got to trade this guy away. We got to trade that guy away. We have to get tougher. Injuries kind of hampered us, no doubt about that. And that can be an issue. But more than anything, we have to get tougher. I watched, and your man Ox is. I always use your man as an example. I watched Scottie Pippen grow into the player that he grew into, and the difference with Scottie once he got tougher, it was over. Once he got tougher, once he recognized from Jordan that, yo, brother, all I need you to do is fight. I fight with you. I will fight with you. Don't worry about if he swing on you, you swing on him back. I'm not running. I'm gonna be right here with you. Just fight. Yep. That's all I'm asking you to do. And I think that's the issue with this Cleveland Cavaliers team. They just aren't tough enough right now. And I still feel like we live in an era where it's not your turn yet. It's not it's not their turn. And I think next year, especially considering what the Eastern Conference is about to look like, I feel like next season you add some toughness to this team, and not necessarily on the outside. Like I got to bring in Isaiah Stewart type of guy. No, I feel like with the roster that we have, I feel like we're good enough from a talent standpoint. We just got to get tougher. We just got to get more aggressive. We have to bring the fight to other teams. I don't think that the issue is with Donovan Mitchell. I don't think that the issue is with Evan Mobley in terms of their game. I think that the issue with them is with their toughness more than anything. Evan Mobley is growing into being a tougher player. Jared Allen growing into being a tougher player. I watched the Bulls get pushed around for years by the Detroit Pistons until they got tougher. And I'm not buying the logic that, well, the Detroit Pistons was old. Joe Dumars was 26. Joe Dumars was 26 years old. Not only was Joe Dumars 26 years, Isaiah Thomas was 29 years old. Dennis Rodman was 30 years old. These dudes wasn't old. No, they were not. The Bulls got tougher. And the same thing is going on with this Cleveland Cavaliers team. They need to get tougher. Evan Mobley, as great as he is as a defender, you know how I feel about him, Mox. I think he's the best defensive player in the game. I think that he needs to get tougher. I think Jared Allen, as nice as he is, and I can't believe I'm using this word, polite as he is, he needs to be more. He needs to be ruder. That's what he needs to be. Help it. If a guy falls on the floor, don't help him up. Let him get up. No, that's not your responsibility.
That's
right?
his team's job.
No, that's his team. Don't help him up. Absolutely not. We need to get tougher. And if we can get tougher, I think that the talent is going to speak for itself. Ox, I'm not interested in moving off of any of these guys. I think we got the formula here. I think we got the right combination of players. I'm not buying this logic about a small backcourt because I got big guys that can supplement that. And I think that our team defense, which Oklahoma City has proven, and if you got a great team defense, you're in a real good position. And I think our team defense is good enough to protect these quote-unquote small guys. And I think that their offense, I feel like their offense is even better. So a guy like Darius Garland, who's one of the best lead guards in the game, one of the best ball handlers in the game, one of the best downhill guys in the game, I feel like his offense, offensively, he's one of the better guards in the game. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell. You know how I feel about him. I think he's the best two guard in the game. With him, with these two guys, and now I got Evan Mobley and I got Jared Allen. Ox, we just need to get tougher. That's all. Right. That's all it is. We just need to get tougher.
I think the Cavs are good enough anyway already. I think injuries kind of did them in this year. Chill. I said already to you. I feel like the NBA is a win now league, especially the way it is now. I think it's a win now league. I think the league is wide open. I think it's been wide open for a little while now. Even during the season, I was saying, you know how the West was so tight, so compact as far as games play. Our games, you know, it was right there. And I was saying from the beginning, I don't think the West is some powerhouse. I just think it's a bunch of teams that are close as far as talents and stuff goes. I don't think it's a powerhouse. I don't think how do I say it properly? I'm not saying I don't think there's a lot of talent or good players or good teams in the NBA. I just don't think it's all that. You know, it's really even.
It's not this. It's not like
it's really
it's not
even.
like it used to be.
It's not. It doesn't. It's not. There's not a lot of teams in the league where I'm just like, oh, they're too good to lose. They're too. You know, they're not good. I don't think it's that way. I think it's a win now league.
Yes.
That's why I think there are some teams that should be making some trades.
Yes.
I think the Spurs would be absolutely out of their minds to pick in this draft. I think not trading that number 2 pick and getting somebody that can come help them win right now would be a huge mistake. You know what I'm saying? I think there's some trades that need to be had. I think like how we were talking about earlier in the season. I think Penn was the one that was kind of pushing the go get Cam Johnson or something like that. I think the Thunder should have done that. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a lot of teams that just are one move away from being able to compete as contenders, because I don't think there's any powerhouse team in the league that just can't be beat. I do not believe OKC was that much better than all these teams. I told you my theory on that already. I think they were the team that was like, no, we're going to win games. I think there was a bunch of older teams in the West that were like, we're going to coast. Yep. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get to the playoffs. I know for a fact that if Aaron Gordon wasn't hurt, OKC wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe
different series if Aaron Gordon had not gotten hurt.
Right. I don't believe that there's any clear-cut team that can't be beat or clear-cut team that's gonna win a championship, clear-cut championship favorites. Sure. Even in the East, I was wishy-washy in the East all season. I had the Celtics, had the Knicks, had the Cavs, I think I even had Orlando for a week or two. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say, make some moves, y'all. Make some moves. There's 3 guys, Chill, I want to talk about with you. That's Karl-Anthony Towns.
Yep.
That's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yep.
And that's Kevin Durant. These are 3 guys that I've been hearing a lot of rumbling about getting traded, moving. Yep. Now I know that the Bucks or the people close to Giannis or whatever just put out that he most likely won't request a trade. Mind you, I think that's just a negotiating tactic to try to drive the price up a bit. Oh, yeah. Of course. I think they're going to listen. Of course. I think so. Yeah, I think they're just trying to drive the price up a bit, right? So, Chill, I ask you, can we start with let's start with the vet. Let's start with KD. Yep. Can we talk about maybe 3 can you give me maybe 3 destinations where you think he would be the best fit, help that team the most? let's start with Kevin Durant here.
Well, Ox, you just mentioned it, and I'm leaning more toward your side. I have been stubborn in the way of my thinking of building a championship team, and my team is good, but in 2 or 3 years we're getting better, because I feel like the landscape, what they're doing in Houston, what they're doing in Detroit, like what they were doing in Memphis. I mean, I feel like it's working, and I don't want to blow that up, because I feel like what we're going to be doing in the future is just going to be so much better than what's going on right now. But to your point, I mean, I can see where you're coming from with the idea that we're going to have the 7th different champion in the last 7 years, which means this thing is wide open.
Right. Yeah, right.
This thing is wide open, which means that we could be a long ball shooter or a box work guy away from winning it. And who knows if we're going to get back again, because again, we've seen all of these different champions, which means ain't no guarantee we getting back. So if we're gonna have an opportunity to win it, we got to do something right now. So I do see it from both sides. And KD, for example, the thing that I'm worried about with KD, more than anything is KD. He's gonna be 37 on opening night, Ox, right? 37, which means that this is a right now thing with him. And what team am I looking at that I can say KD can jump on his crew primarily as a bucket getter? Can he defend at 37 years old? Can he still be viable at 37 years old? I mean, I think he can still be good, but we're talking about trying to win it, Ox. We're not trying to get a guy on the crew that, we just want him to score buckets and this is just good entertainment. No, we're trying to win the whole thing. And I think the team that I'm looking at right now is the San Antonio Spurs, because I think he steps on that crew. And I think that San Antonio's got a bunch of draft picks. I think that they got some young guys. I think that they'll hand him over for Kevin Durant, because I think Phoenix, that's the thing that they're looking for more than anything. They need draft picks, because Houston has all their draft picks. So they need draft picks back. So if they can get draft picks,
for the number 2, or is San Antonio giving up the 2 for KD?
I think I could talk them into giving me that number 2 pick for KD. And the reason why
you just said he's about to be 37.
Yeah, and like I told you yesterday, Ox, that number 2 pick, essentially what my selling point is this guy at number 2 going to be better than KD? Is he ever going to be better than what KD is right now? If you don't think he's ever going to be better than what KD is right now, then you can have it. Then hand him over. Okay. I think that's a good. I feel like that's a good selling point, because thinking about how good KD is, KD played 62 games. He probably would have been an All-Pro. Had he played the necessary games in order to be eligible. He probably would have been an All-Pro. So whoever the number 2 pick is, whether it's Dylan Harper, whether it's this kid Ace Bailey, whomever it is at the number 2 pick, do you think this guy is ever going to be as good as KD is right now? If you don't think that, and if you don't think that, and you think that KD can help you right now, and you also got the number 14 pick 2 in the draft, so that helps. So it's not like you're just giving me the number. It's not like you're giving me the number. It's not like you're just giving me the number 2 pick. And you can hand over a couple of those young guys. I like KD in that San Antonio offense, because consistent scorer, real good jump shooter, can get downhill. You got arguably the best defensive player in the game in Wemby. You got a dynamic point guard in De'Aaron Fox. With that happening, I think that you can supplement those. I think you can supplement those role players like Jeremy Shohan and guys like that. I think you can supplement those guys. I do think that the days of the bomb squads are over, Ox. I'm not going to argue that. I think that the days of the Steph, Clay, Dre, KD, I think those days are over. I don't think that we're going to see that anymore. But I do think the KD on this roster, because he's got one of those games that can travel more than anybody. I mean, he's got one of the most portable games that I've seen. And another place that I thought the KD would be really good at. I love him in Atlanta. I do. I love him with Trae Young in Atlanta. But the thing I'm thinking about is, and I think that they would do it, is I love Jalen Johnson. It's a 20-10 guy. A 20-10 guy who's an all-star. Would Atlanta be interested in handing him over for KD? We may have to get a third team involved in that, because Jalen Johnson has to be the guy. And I need some draft picks too, because again,
man, I don't know about Jalen Chill. Maybe Zach. Maybe they could have Ricochet, but I'm giving up Jalen.
Yeah, that's what has to be a part of for me. Just like when and we're gonna talk about Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna talk about Giannis in a little bit. Just like you said with Giannis going to Toronto, if Scotty ain't part of the deal, click, we're done. We can't have a conversation. No.
Yeah.
There's no
No,
conversation.
yeah. There's no way. Okay, so you say Atlanta and San Antonio for KD. I mean, I could see those being good fits. My only issue is what they got to give up. Like for San Antonio, I could see them giving up the 14 and maybe a couple future picks, couple young guy or two, Keldon, those guys. Just that number 2 for KD for me would be tough. Just because, like you said, he's going to be 37. So
yeah.
I don't know, but I'm interested to see. I know for a fact at least one of these 3 dudes are moving. Let's move on to the next guy, Chill. What about Giannis? You just brought up Giannis.
Yeah.
What's some possible destinations for him, and what would those trade packages look like?
When y'all first brought this Toronto thing to me, I was thinking, does this thing really have legs? Is this something that like we could really see? But then I thought about Ajiri, and he loves Giannis. He doesn't like Giannis. He loves Giannis. He wanted Giannis from the beginning. He was doing everything he could to trade up in the draft to get Giannis. Not that he saw Giannis being this good, but he loved Giannis. Now, Giannis being in Toronto, what is it going to cost to get Giannis out of Milwaukee? Number one, Ox, I can appreciate your logic about it being a ploy. I really don't think Giannis wants to leave Milwaukee. I don't. I like I said, if I'm Milwaukee, he's got to ask out. He's going to have to ask out. I'm not moving him unless he asks out. But for the sake of argument, let's say he does. This Toronto thing does, if it does have some legs, Scotty Barnes has to be a part of this deal. He has to be a part of, not only does Scotty Barnes have to be a part of this deal, and I think we got to get a third team involved too, because I don't think that they have anything straight up to give us in order for this thing to work. In terms of the money, I mean, Giannis just signed an extension. I think he got 2 more years left on this extension at like 55 and 57 million. So we got to get, I think we got to get a third team involved in, this to make the money work. Maybe Orlando. They'll throw in one of their sharpshooters, and they could get another draft pick out of this. If I can move Giannis to Toronto and I could get Scotty Barnes, I think I can't have Quigley, because I think that Quigley can't hold up he can't hold the money up neither though, Ox. Quigley's not a guy who can hold his trade up. If it's between Quigley holding up the trade and it not happening, Quigley got to go. But I'm thinking Barnes. I'm thinking Scotty Barnes, Pirtle, and I'm thinking 5-1s. That's what I'm thinking.
Shit.
Yes, I'm thinking 5-1s.
That's a lot of draft picks.
Yes, sir. I'm thinking 5-1s. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give up a lot to get Giannis, and I think people are aware of that. Well, there are some teams that can.
If I'm moving off Giannis, Ox, I'm essentially saying that I'm starting over. That's what I'm doing. Dame is out. Dame is probably gonna be out for the season. I'm trading Giannis. I'm essentially telling the Milwaukee fan base we're starting over. So if we're starting over, I need as many draft picks as I possibly can get. As many.
100%.
I ain't talking about no damn pick swaps neither. I need picks. I ain't talking about I'm gonna take your pick if you got the 11th pick and I got the 12th pick. No, we're not pick swapping in the draft 4 years from now. No, you got Giannis. You're still gonna be damn good. I don't need I'm not swapping the 9th pick for the 13th pick. Even though I might like a guy, if I got the 8th pick, I might like him at 13 more than I like him at 8. He might not be around by the time I pick at 13. So no, I'm not trying to hear that. No.
See, so that's why the Toronto move. Toronto makes more sense to me for Kevin Durant than Giannis, and that's because for Kevin Durant, I don't believe we'd have to give up Scotty. You know what I mean? For Giannis, there's no way possible that you can get Giannis without giving up Scotty Barnes.
And so that part of the deal. It has to be.
And for those reasons, I'm like KD to Toronto is the move to me.
Sure.
I don't.
But I don't know. And I know how you feel about Kevin Durant, but I also know how you feel about Brandon Ingram too. Don't forget he's up there.
Right.
So with Brandon Ingram being up there, that's our KD, having Brandon Ingram. He ain't KD, Ox. I ain't gonna argue that point. I'm not arguing that point. But he's our KD. That's what he is. So
gotcha.
With him being our KD, we already have something like this. Don't get me wrong. It's much better to have this than something like this. But we just traded for this and extended him too. So, I mean, I think that they stick with Scotty Barnes. I mean, not Scotty Barnes. I'm sorry. I think that they stick with Brandon Ingram.
Right. Yeah, and my thing, because I did get a little pushback when I brought that up. I don't feel like, so we've seen KD with Kyrie and James Harden. I know there was some injuries involved, but they didn't get it done. We've seen KD with D Book and Bradley Beal. They didn't get it done. I feel like Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram and KD isn't the same thing as what you got in Phoenix. I look at Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes as maybe not as good as those guys, but they're basketball players. They're just better at overall playing the game of basketball. D Book is a bucket, so no disrespect to Book, but I want Scotty. I want to play with Scotty. You know what I'm saying? I want to play with Scotty Barnes before I want to play with Devin Booker. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what you're gonna get from Scotty Barnes, and I'm by no stretch of the imagination am I trying to tell y'all that Scotty Barnes is better than Devin Booker. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to convince you all of that. I just think it's a better fit. I don't look at this as, oh, they're trying to build a big three. They're trying to build a super team. This is a really good basketball player that's going to do multiple things in throughout the game. He's a much better defender. He's going to be better at distributing. He can play he can play multiple positions. I think that's a better fit for Kevin Durant. So I don't, you know what I mean? Like, so because you brought it up earlier when you said that the bomb squad thing doesn't work. It's not going to work anymore. I don't look at this as necessarily that type of build. This is a good basketball team altogether. So that's why I think KD would fit better over there with Scotty than he would fit with Devin Booker. So that's just my take on that. Is that the only team you have for Giannis, or did you have anything else for Giannis?
Well,
any other options?
There was one team that I was thinking about with Giannis, and I'm not sure that it is going to work. But
please don't say. Well, I think
I'm not. No, I'm not, because I already know where you're going with this. But the fact that Jaren Jackson didn't make the All-Pro team, I mean, I think that's good for Memphis in terms of the money. And I love Giannis in Memphis. I do. I love Giannis in Memphis. I'm not sure what Memphis, and this is another team that this is another situation where they'd have to give up some things to get Giannis. I feel like Giannis in Ja, even though Ja is a primary ball handler, but the transition player that he is, the transition player that Giannis is, I think that they would be a great fit. You get G.G. Jackson back in the lineup. One of the better wing players in the game. I think injuries kind of hobbled him. In addition to him, it's going to take probably. I think it's going to take Jaren Jackson. I think it's going to take Desmond Bane, or one of those two guys. Jaren Jackson has to be a part of the deal.
Right.
If I'm Milwaukee, if I'm Milwaukee, Jaren Jackson has to be a part of the deal. And I need a bunch of draft picks. I'm not trading them straight up. But I love Giannis in Memphis because of that style of play that they play down there. They're one of the fastest teams in the league. Giannis is nothing but transition and power and speed, and I think that he would love playing with Ja and love playing in that offense. Love it.
Okay. I would like the fit with him and Ja. I just don't know exactly what if Milwaukee would accept that. I think you were right when you said they would have to be Triple J. And I think they would demand Desmond Bane as well. So there's that. What about Karl Anthony Towns, Chill? Do you think he's on the move?
I don't, Ox. I do not. I think that it was. I think it's smoke and mirrors. I think that they pushed all their chips to the front of the table. It didn't work. I don't think that they tear it down again. I think that injuries are something that really hampered them. We didn't really get to see Mitchell Robinson and Cat the entire season. Don't forget, Mitchell Robinson, he missed almost 3/4 of the season. They didn't get him back until like February or something like that. Excuse me, they didn't get him back to almost February, something like that. I don't think he's on the move. I think that they are also a team that I think that the offense just needs to change. I think we need to get the ball out of Jalen Brunson's hands as much. I think the ball needs to move a little bit more. I think you need to involve not just Cat, but I think you need to involve OG Anunoby more in the offense. And what I mean when I say involve him more, Ox, not just in the half court, because I like OG Anunoby as a one-on-one player. I do. I like him in quick hits. I like him in curl cuts. But the thing I like the most about him, I want the game to speed up. I think we need to start playing faster. We don't play fast. We got athletes. We got Mikal Bridges. We got OG Anunoby. Cat gets up and down the floor. Cat's not one of these guys that won't run. Cat's a great transition big. We need to speed the game up. And if we can speed the game up, I feel like we can make ourselves offensively more viable. When the offense when we get in the half court and we slow the offense down, the ball's got to move. This pick and pop with just Cat or Jalen Brunson operating solely off of him, that's not going to work. I don't think that we need to trade Cat. But if you did, just like I'm talking about Ox just like I was talking about with KD, I love Cat in Atlanta with Trey. Love him. I love him in Atlanta with Trey. I think that Trey will get off. Trey's one of the better distributors in the game. I think Trey will get off the ball. I think that offense is a lot different. Now, I know you're not going to like this, Ox. I need that kid, Jalen Johnson. I need him in New York. Yes, and I know that you're not feeling giving up Jalen Johnson. That's 20 and 10, but I'm giving you another 20 and 10 guy who's better long ball shooter, better in transition in terms of a stop and pop big, gets downhill with the best of them. I love Karl Anthony Towns in New York. I'm sorry, in Atlanta. Love it.
Yeah, and well, mind you, I only reason I said that with Jalen Johnson, it was the same reason as the number 2 in San Antonio. I could see myself giving up a lottery pick, a top 5 pick for Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I could see myself giving him up for something like that. I can't. KD's 37, and I know I said it's a win now league, but when I say it's, I still need a guy that I can get three or 4 years from. I'm not getting that from KD. Now, with all due respect to Kevin Durant, because he's still balling, you know what I'm saying, and I have no idea how long he's going to play, but I don't see myself getting 4 years out of KD. So Jalen Johnson for Cat, I might be able to get with, but you're not going to get much more pieces than that. You know what I'm saying from me. If we're going with Jalen Johnson, Jalen Johnson's moving. He's the centerpiece of that trade, and you might get a guy that plays 4 minutes a game. I'm not giving up much more because I think Jalen Johnson is a really good basketball player. But okay, so that's cool. Cat to Atlanta. Any other possible destinations? Or
to be honest with you, Ox, I didn't like the move, moving him from Minnesota. I understand that it was for the money, but I loved him in Minnesota. I loved it. I thought that they were right there. I understand that you gave him up because of the bread, right? I understand that you gave him up because the bread was too much, and we're entering this new CBA with the second apron, and you're not really interested in paying that. I do get that part, but from a fit standpoint and the money, and you can't talk basketball, you can't talk the business, you can't talk pro basketball if you can't talk the business of basketball. You can't do that. And in the NBA, these things, especially with small markets, Minnesota, Portland, Oklahoma City, like when you're trying to win, shit gets expensive. Shit gets real expensive real quick, right? And I understand Minnesota's reasoning for moving up. They wasn't feeling paying Cat that long-term kind of bread, right? And with them not paying him that kind of long-term bread, they moved off him for Julius Randle for cheaper. I just think Cat fit better. I do. I just think Cat fit better with what they were doing. I do.
Right. So keeping it in New York though, Chill, we know that we still have a coaching vacancy in the league. Tom Thibodeau, they let him go last week after losing to the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yep.
To my knowledge, that coaching vacancy has not been filled. Do you got a couple guys that you think might come and get that job?
Well, Dan Hurley has made it clear that he's not interested in the Knick job. So, and I think that he's not interested in the Knick job because they haven't offered him the right. I already got a job, Box. So if you're gonna offer me, right, you better make it worth my while. So it's not like whenever you don't have a job, any job looks good. But when you already got a job, you got to make whatever job you're offering me a better fit. So, I mean, with Dan Hurley, I mean, you can't extend him at $54 million. Like New York has to come with something even more substantial than that, and it's got to make sense. So he's already he's out on them. Mike Brown, I'm a Frank Vogel fan. I don't think Frank Vogel was just standing on the sideline with his arms folded when he played when they won the NBA championship in the 2019-2020 season. He was coaching his ass off. They had one of the best defenses in the league. Not only did they have one of the best defenses in the league, LeBron James led the league in assists. He wasn't just doing that just because he's LeBron James. No, they implemented an offense where he can be more successful. It was a lot more ball movement. It was a lot more action. They played a lot faster. The ball got turned over a lot because their defense was better, and James was involved in that. So I do like Frank Vogel as a coach. I just don't want to recycle these bad coaches. I do want to get some new blood in there, Ox. You know, I think that Ron Artest made it. He said that he's wanted to put his name in the hat. No.
I seen that this morning. Yeah.
No, I think I'm gonna pass on that, my man. I'm not saying that you can't coach. You're just not a Knick coach right now. You got to show me something else.
Yeah, shout out to you though, Meta, for sure.
Absolutely, 100% Meta. You definitely can show me something different. So, Frank Vogel, I've always been a Mike Brown fan. Mike Brown, since he left LeBron James, has shown me a lot more. Mike Brown coaches ass off. Yeah, Mike Brown gets the attention of the players. Mike Brown implements a system defensively that makes his teams viable. And they play fast, and he has the personnel to play fast in New York. I would like him in New York. But I feel like they need somebody younger in there, though, Ox. I feel like they need somebody younger that can relate to the players a little bit more and push the tempo in New York more than anything. Those are the guys that I was thinking about off the top of my head. I feel like Mike Malone, I feel like that's Tibbs. I feel like he's Tibbs just at a rehab. That's who I feel like he is. I don't think him and Mike. I don't think Tibbs and Mike Malone are this. I feel like Mike Malone. I think Mike Malone is Tibbs with a championship. If I'm being honest with you, I don't think those. I don't think those guys are separated by much. I don't.
Right. Taylor Jenkins.
I like Taylor Jenkins. I do. I think it's interesting how the Knicks have said that they've contacted Ime Udoka, and Houston has shut that down. Yo. Let's be clear about one thing, Ox. You see that dude in the club who, he high and homegirl. He like, what's up with homegirl? Her boyfriend is like me. That's what's up with her. That's what's up with homegirl. She is not available, my man. Move on.
Right.
No, She with somebody. So step off. Not over here, my man. And the Houston Rockets have made that clear. They have not given Ime Udoka permission to talk to the Knicks. Why? Because we already got a coach. Go find your own coach. Not our coach. I don't think so.
Right. I'm happy Houston wasn't trying to be bold about it. Like, yeah, go ahead and talk to him. He's happy over here. All right, that's how you get your girl to it. Better just go ahead and shut that down. That's not happening, man. You can't talk to him. You can't talk to him, man. You know what I'm saying? No, there'll be none of that.
Real quick, Ox, because Mad Max Sports, he wants to be involved in this thing. So Mad Max, just so we clear, you said he hasn't had one good season without LeBron. The Sacramento Kings had the 3rd seed a couple of years ago. This is a team that was in 12th place. Mike Brown gets the job. They had the 3rd seed. So don't tell me that they haven't had one good season since he left. That's your one good season right there.
Oh, the next season was a good one too. We got those late season injuries. I think we were going to be back. Yeah, we were gonna be back at it. But yeah, okay. So we got some good coaching options. So before we get to the lobby, one more thing I want to bring up. Before we get to the lobby. We got a full lobby. We got a packed house. I want to get some guys up here to, get some takes on game 1 and see what they feel about game 2 and all that good stuff, right? I just want to ask you real quick because Draymond Green says his list of top 5 defenders in NBA history are Hakeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, Tony Allen, Ben Wallace, and himself. I'm not mad at the list. Obviously, I think he's I think he forgot Scottie Pippen, but that's okay.
Dennis Rodman.
Besides that, I'm not mad at this list. How do you feel about this?
Tony Allen was not a better defender than Joe Dumars. I stand on that. I will die on that hill. Tony Allen.
Draymond Green ain't never watched Joe Dumars play, so he don't know.
Tony Allen was not a better defender in my estimation than Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars was a fantastic on-ball defender. He was fantastic on the weak side of the basketball. He was great. Tony Allen, as great a defender as he was, he got stamped because Kobe Bryant said that was his toughest matchup. The reason why Jordan didn't say that Joe Dumars was his toughest matchup because he didn't like the Pistons. because of the way that they played. But Joe Dumars, who was the classiest guy over there, who was the all-league guy, all-league defender over there with Dennis Rodman, was a great perimeter defender, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league at that time for a long period of time. Not only that, Draymond Green, you were not a better defender than number one, Dennis Rodman. You were not a better defender than him. You were not a better defender than Scottie Pippen. You were not a better defender than Bill Russell. I don't think you were a better defender than Tim Duncan. I mean, I could keep going with the best defenders ever. You definitely weren't a better defender than Bill Russell. So, I mean, these are the guys that I'm thinking about just off the top of my head.
Draymond wasn't a better defender than Kevin Garnett.
He was not a better defender than KG. So I can appreciate why he said that. I 100% can appreciate that, why he said that. Because, of course, if somebody's going to ask you, who's better between you and this person, of course you're going to say yourself. But, no, I don't think that you're a top 5 defender all time. I think that there's this conversation for you to be top 10. Excuse me, this conversation for you to be top 10, definitely top 15. But top 5? No, absolutely not. You weren't a better defender than Ben Wallace neither.
Well, he did put Tim Duncan and Ben Wallace on the list though. But I'm with Draymond for putting himself on the list. I think Draymond is a good enough defender. He has defense, the DPOYs, all that. Besides just the hardware though, I think he's played good enough defense. He's had enough marquee matchups for him to put himself in that list. So if you're to ask Draymond who's top 5, I would expect him to put himself in that list, and I'd respect him putting himself on that list. I have no problem with it. But I can easily name 5 defenders that I think are better than Draymond Green. And that's no disrespect because Draymond Green is one of the best defenders I've ever seen.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely not a knock to Draymond. I think Scottie should be on the list, of course. I think KG, I think those guys. But shout out to Draymond. I'm not mad at this list. Typically, I don't have very many good things to say about Draymond, but I'm with this one. Go ahead, Dre. We got a couple people in the lobby. Got packed house. Let's get to it. Here we go. We're gonna start this off with my man Classic. What up, Classic?
Yo, what up, guys?
What up?
Yeah, the finals. I had picked the Pacers at 4 because I just thought that they were the better team. I thought that the East has the better teams in the West, and I talked with Chill about it a couple of days ago. But I just think that the East plays better team ball than the Western teams. And that's why I like the Celtics dominated the Mavericks in the finals last year. And then I think the turnovers in the first half, I think they actually fueled the Pacers. Because I hate sometimes when people talk bad about turnovers because sometimes you got to take risks. Like with football, if you got a bunch of good receivers on your team, you got to take risks sometimes to get all in the ball.
Got to throw the ball.
You got to throw the ball. So with the Pacers, when you got a whole bunch of guys that can score, that can get out of transition, that can shoot, you got to take some risks sometimes. And Chill, I disagree with you about Obi being unplayable in the first half, because I think those turnovers fueled Obi. I think they gave him the confidence to be able to play better in the second half. And I think the reason why J-Dub and Chet had a bad game, is because it's hard for them to get in the rhythm when SGA is shooting the ball the whole game.
Well, what gave him the confidence was that Rick Carlisle didn't take him out of the game. That's what gave him the confidence. It wasn't those turnovers. It's the fact that Rick Carlisle stuck with him and he didn't yank him like some coaches would have done and completely just taken him out of the game, and it would have shook his confidence. But he didn't do that. He stuck with him and he let him continue to play and he let him work it out, which is, I think, a great thing from Rick Carlisle, and it worked.
Well, I'm saying, Chill, everybody makes mistakes, but the superstars, they can make all the mistakes they want usually. But the role players, they don't have the least to make the mistakes like the superstars do. So for Rick Carlisle to let those guys in the first half make those mistakes and get those turnovers out their system, that was a huge part in them winning the game and all of those guys having confidence. And I actually think that the Pacers, I think they got the most athletic players on their team. I think that Obi and Benedict Mathurin are the 2 most athletic players in this series. And I think that's going to help the Pacers a lot. That block that Benedict Mathurin had, that was insane.
Yep.
That's the second time I've seen him do something like that. And
I'm
then
thinking about the athletes that Oklahoma City has. I mean, because I don't think Shea is an exceptional athlete. I think he's a good athlete. I think J-Dub is a good athlete also. Chet is a different athlete. Like Casey Wallace. Is Casey Wallace a better athlete than Obi Toppin? No, I don't think so. I can get with that, sure.
Yeah, I think that's going to help them a lot. And the Pacers and the Celtics last year is kind of why I actually think that like role players are more important than superstars. And then with the coaching, man, I think these NBA coaches are overrated. I believe I think Ox, you Chill, some of the other guys on the panel, I think y'all would do a better job coaching than some of these coaches. It doesn't make sense to make an adjustment before the game even starts when you had the best team in the league. And then this small ball stuff, it's just nonsense. Like turnover, rebounding is way more important than turnovers. If Mark Dagenau would have left Iheart and Chet in that game last night in the closing minutes of the fourth, they would have won that game. But he sabotaged the team, overthinking, trying to be smarter than everybody, going small ball, and then they got crushed on the glass. When the Thunder, they're really the better rebounding team. Iheart is the best rebounder in this series. Chet is probably the second best rebounder in this series. They easily win that game if they keep them two in the game. So that's my takeaway from the game, man. As I mentioned, I got Pacers in 4. They're the better team. I think they got the way better coach, the better athletes, and they play better team basketball.
All right.
Okay. Right on, Classic. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one.
Yep. I don't hate it, Ox. I don't. To be honest with you, I don't hate it. I understand that, Hartenstein and Chet, they weren't great. But I've always cared about rebounding. You're never gonna get an argument out of me when it comes to rebounding. And right. I've always cared about rebounding. And Oklahoma City got their ass kicked on the glass. They did. They got their ass kicked on the glass, and I think a lot of that was due to them worrying about transition offense. So they didn't go to the offensive glass as much. And they were worried about the speed of Indiana. So he ended up sitting his big guys, which, I think it ended up being to his detriment. I think that he's going to go back to that. I think he's going to go back to his big guys, and I think he's going to stick with them a little bit more. I think he's going to get on the offensive glass a little bit more. And with him getting on the offensive glass a little bit more, also getting on the defensive glass and slowing them down. And that rebound margin, I think that can close.
Chill, I look at it it's kind of like chess and poker. You know what I mean? You might don't show your hand too quick. Don't get too excited. Don't you know what I'm saying? Don't bet too high too fast. You're gonna scare them off. I think Mark Dagenau might have put himself in a hole by trying to make that move early, being proactive with the iHeart move. Now, if he does that, starts iHeart, Rick Carlisle is going to take advantage of the exact reason why he sat iHeart in the first place. Yeah. So it's now Coach Dagenau. You out-coached yourself to a vet. Rick Carlisle is going to sit back and watch. Oh, I got him now. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I know you said you didn't hate. I absolutely hate Pacers in 4. I don't think either. Obviously OKC in 4 can't happen, but Pacers in 4, classic. I don't think that's gonna happen, but. If it does, everybody that made that bet, shout out to y'all.
Well, to your point, Ox, he was already prepared for Hartenstein and Chet. That was the lineup he was prepared for. When you switched it up, he was like, all right, I can this actually works in my favor.
Right.
Yeah, this actually works for me because you're switching it up. Now you're gonna go back to what you was doing. I'm already prepared for that anyway. So yeah, I get it. I do.
I just that's all I'm saying. Sometimes when that's what I meant earlier. You can really out coach yourself. You know what I'm saying? I got this thing where I see somebody like they're thinking. I'm like, yo, you really think you're thinking right now, and you really help it right now. But appreciate it though.
You're doing too much.
Another thing though, Classic. I think we got to put some respect on NBA coaches. I coach. I coach. Yeah, I coach AAU and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I train teenagers. You know what I mean? I've coached the 20 and under team before, but I appreciate the compliment though, Classic. But brother, those NBA coaches, man, they got a rough gig, man. And I would never just assume that I could go and fill the shoes of
that's why a lot of these NBA the big bucks.
Right. But hey. Appreciate that though. Let me see who we got next. Let me please. I might need to shut this stream down because we do have the leader of the Halliburton, with us in the lobby. Let's bring my man Damo to the stage. Yo, Damo. What up, baby? What up, baby?
In Allah we praise.
Hey, big fella, pass that.
Can, the Halaban can.
Pass that.
How you doing, fellas?
Pass that, big fella.
What up, Damo?
You know I got you, chill. Come on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What up, Damo?
Listen, let me say one thing before I get into any cordial, logical basketball talk. Man, oh man, does Halliburton not jump off the screen? Am I right? Am I right? Man,
ain't really nothing blowing me away.
Yeah, that's a great pool.
Come on, man. That's where it all started.
Right.
Does he jump off the screen, fellas?
No.
Do you
Damo,
see it now?
Damo, I'm watching on 9 TVs and he ain't jump off now one of them.
Hey, crazy. Hey, there was only one TV to watch off game one.
Yeah,
facts.
Chill town. Let me ask you, you the basketball encyclopedia. Have you ever seen somebody give game winners all 4 rounds in the playoffs?
No. Last guy to do that was James, and he did it. What? He had 2 game winners. I think was it 2 or 3? I know he did it against Indiana. I know he did it against Indiana. I know he did it against Toronto. I think that was it.
I think it was a tie. I think he tied the game with the Celtics, or he just hit the shot that ended up putting them ahead, and they ended up winning.
Yeah. But
wait.
Hallie is icing games, Damo. He's icing them. Game over.
Even when he's icing games. Hand. 6 seconds
and without
left,
the hot hand. No.
Nembhard done hit 8 straight points to bring him back in the game. He's clearly hot. Just gave Shea the hibachi special. No one's talking about how he put Shea on the island and just rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat. 3 ball. Easy. Hibachi style. They don't talk about that though. But the confidence you gotta have to have 11 points? It's 6 seconds left. You look at your bench.
Sure.
Don't call a timeout.
Which I'm glad you brought that up, Damo. That right there, I actually talked about that on the panel, that I thought that was one of the smartest things. I can't stand when coaches call timeout, especially a defense like Oklahoma City. What you're doing is you're giving them an opportunity to set up. Hell no, Damo, I'm not letting you take your jacket off. I'm not letting you take your hat off, Damo. I'm swinging on you. No, you're not.
You trying to take your sweater off fighting me? I'm
hell no. I'm not letting you take your. I'm not letting you take your coat off. Hell no. I'm swinging on you as soon as you try to do that. So I thought that was a great tactic from Rick Carlisle. Just go and have them on their heels. They was already on their heels anyway, right? Because Indiana had gotten back in the game, so they were already on their heels anyway. I think that was just a knockout blow. That was a great. That was a great coach game.
They had 35 turnovers going into the 4th quarter, and the game never felt, at least to me, and maybe it's just bias. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I done seen them come back from 20 points in every round this playoffs. But the turnover differential was plus 20, plus 25, and it's still a 10-point game the entire time. In my head, I'm like, bro, the Thunder have to, if they don't close this door, the Pacers can still win.
Kind of just hanging around.
That they didn't get their first lead,
Yeah, kind of just hanging around.
They trailed for 47 minutes and 59.7 seconds.
They were down the whole game. Basically.
The entire game.
Yeah,
the first lead was the game winner. Listen, being honest, the Thunder are the better team. The Thunder should win this series, but I don't know what's in the water in Indiana. I don't know what's in the script for Adam Silver, or I don't know if Reese just heard the praises, because again, Allah is great. Allah is
Damo,
good.
are they the better team, or are they the more talented team? Those two things ain't the same thing. Because
you're right. I think they're a more talented team. I do think the Pacers play basketball way better together.
I just think they're unit. Like, I feel like they're more cohesive. I feel like that unit is more on the same page, just as a unit. Like, we might not be as talented as them, but for what we do, we better at everybody for what we do. And until you can get us out of what we do, ain't nobody better than us.
And how many lead guards in the league right now can you say is the best player on their team, but when the going gets tough, they can just come off the ball. They are comfortable coming off the ball, letting second man, third man, fourth man just run. We've seen Neesmith get hot and bring him back in the game. We've seen Nimbar do it. We've seen Siakam do it. Heck, against the Knicks, we've seen Thomas Bryant doing it. Like, this team is something, it's genuinely special. And I love it because now it defeats the notion that you have to build your teams a certain way to win a championship. It shows
100 ways to win basketball games.
Thank you. It shows that it is still possible to just be a good basketball team, playing the right way, ethical hoops. Again, man, oh man, is it so great to have ethical hoops fighting for a title, ethical versus unethical.
Damo, you cooking, bro. When I'm watching these playoffs, bro, I just keep hearing you in these playoffs. Damo, matter of fact, because y'all was on playback for that game, right? I saw y'all was right?
Yep.
So when in that last 15 seconds, right? Shea misses the shot. Tyrese gets the ball. What were you thinking? Were you assuming that he was gonna make the shot? What?
Game time. Okay. Game time. Ball game, as Paul George would say. Ball game. I called it, and again, we were on playback. This is documented. There's no cap in my rap. We're in front of 300, 400 people. My man Sage, it's 8 minutes left, 9 minutes left. The highest lead is 15. He drops the poll. Do the Pacers come back? The poll was about 100-2. 100 no's, 2 yeses. One of them was me. I was the only person on stage. I promise you, the Pacers will come back and win. Everyone thought I was just saying it for the bit, thought I was trolling. No. In games where you have a team that's this historical on defense and the turnover differential is what it was, it should not be a 10-point game. The fact that the Thunder could not consistently hit shots that game and the Pacers were able to keep it close, I said the game's not over to that buzzer ring. And my man Nembhard comes in there 8 straight. Then they start playing good ball. The Thunder can't hit shots. They stopped calling everything ticky-tack.
You got to play through contact, and 14 turned into 11. 11 turned into 7. 7 turned into a 2-possession game, and oh shit, here they come. Yep. Here we go.
It's a game of runs. The whole game, I'm like, the whole time, I'm like, they are one run away from winning this game. And the run they needed happened at the very last second.
I think it was 10-2. Moments. I think the last 3 minutes of the game they went on a 10-2 run to close out the game. So I mean, we got a series. We got a series, Damo. We 100% got a series.
Absolutely.
So, yes, we do.
And I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know there's plenty of people that want to come up here and talk. Just wanted to say, y'all keep doing what y'all doing. Y'all know I'm always rocking with y'all. I'm seeing what y'all doing. Doubt. Y'all keep killing it. Y'all keep the Haliban name alive. Remember, y'all heard it here first. I was telling the world first. If anyone can, the Haliban can. Ethical hoops will reign supreme. And Ox, stop selling yourself short, gang. All of us up here can outcoach Darvin Ham. I don't want to hear nobody. We all can outcoach Darvin Ham. All of us.
I ain't gonna lie, Damo. I think I'm a hell of a coach. Like my X and O game, I think is really dope. But I just want to make sure to put some respect on these NBA coaches, though. Even if you stand around with your hands in your pockets.
My boy Damo said this thing ain't. My boy Damo said this thing ain't fair. We got an encyclopedia on one hand, and the other nigga who was there. This ain't fair. What we doing?
People still come to me about that. And I'm like, bro, I'm not coming off. I'm feeling like Paul George. I'm like, that's a bad shot. You can't tell me that was fair when Mars can go back to the 60s with champions and they're asking chill questions that he was in the building for. When was the last 30 and 30 shot game? Oh, hell, I was in there. We partied afterwards. I remember that day. Like, come on, man.
Right. Hell yeah. Well, all right, Damo. Appreciate you pulling up, man. It was good to see you, man.
No problem, man. Salute to y'all, man. Y'all be good, man.
All right, y'all.
All right.
That shit was funny. He was like the other dude who was there. That ain't fair.
That's hilarious. Hilarious. Oh, man. Okay, we got somebody else here we've been waiting for a little while. Let me get Baller up to the stage real quick. Let me bring Baller up here. Baller, what's up, man?
What's going on, brother? Ox, chill. How you doing, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I gotta say, Damo brought the energy there, bro. Listen, The Haliban is out here to come for the Thunder's neck. They're coming for you guys. Come on.
I just said yesterday to the guys, I was like, I have to come to the realization that there's a possibility that I might have to start talking about the Pacers as the world champs. I got to start coming to that conclusion that that these dudes could win the NBA championship, and I got to start talking about them like that.
Let me ask you a question though. Why did it take for game one for them to win for us to have a conversation about this? Why isn't that they make the finals and we have a conversation about them winning the championship? Why does it have to take to game one?
Number one, if you look at this Indiana team, even though since January 1st they've been the best team in the NBA, that includes the Celtics, that includes Oklahoma, they've been the best team. So with that being said, it ain't sexy. That's really what it is. And I had them winning game 3. That's why. I ain't had them winning game 1 or game 2. I had them going back to Indiana. I had them winning game 3. And then game 4 could have been a dogfight. And then I had Oklahoma City ending it in 5. But the shit looking tricky right now. It is. It's looking real tricky right now. I still got Oklahoma City winning this series. I don't think Indiana winning another game in the series. But I might be I'm in the minority. But I said Oklahoma City. I'm standing on it.
I have a question for you. Okay, so I had this big conversation with my family yesterday. We were talking about this because we're big ball heads, right? And they said to me that they wouldn't be surprised if OKC wins the next 4 games. And I said to them, why is that the case? Indiana has consistently been the underdog throughout the entire playoffs, and they've been able to do what they're doing exactly. So how could they just lose 4 straight? Like it's that when that wouldn't be shocking, because the way that they're playing basketball, the way they've been consistent throughout throughout the playoffs, the way that they've been making clutch baskets consistently at the end of the game, I would be shocked if they lose the next 4. I could not see it. I think that the way that they're able to rally together as a team, and the way that even Halliburton went to Pascal after the game was like, yo, we didn't even play good. They didn't play good. Like they didn't have their best game. I would be shocked. I'd be more surprised if they lose the next 4 than if they win the champ. I think it's way more likely they win the championship than if they lose the next 4 games, in my opinion.
But I feel I feel like that's what Oklahoma City does, though. The worst of you, they bring it out. However bad you are.
100%.
And even with that being said, they still ended up losing. I mean, they had the lead for 47.59.7 seconds. That's
the pace. That's what they do to you.
They had the lead for that long. It was 0.3 seconds where they ended up giving up the lead. And I don't think Oklahoma City played their best game neither. So
they didn't.
I think Oklahoma City can get back to what they do best. And I feel like everything that Indiana does, I feel like Oklahoma City can counter that.
But who do you think? Which team do you feel has? Like in my opinion, like I'm a big Pascal guy. I'm from Toronto, so I love Pascal Siakam. I'm finally getting to see people give him the love and respect that he deserves, especially with the Eastern Conference Finals, like the MVP. But I'm saying that with him, like my uncle told me this. He's like, listen, like Caruso, for example, is an NBA champion, but he's not their like number 1, number 2 option in terms of scoring. Pascal having that experience as a champion and having that consistent playoff experience, whereas that OKC team doesn't really have any of this playoff experience, right? Like their whole team hasn't really been to any of these rounds except for Caruso.
Easy baller. The chat don't like to talk about experience. So apparently, experience doesn't matter in basketball.
Experience 100% matters, and that logic and baller, that logic would work if Alex Caruso wasn't such a big part of what they were doing. Like if he was just a rotation player, like the 7th, 8th, 9th man who played a couple of minutes, but he's huge for what they do.
100%. Don't disagree with that.
So I feel like with that kind of guy on the floor, he's huge for what they do defensively. He's one of their biggest connectors defensively.
100%.
He's their best on ball. I think he's their best on ball defender.
He may be the best. He might be the best
on ball defender. So I mean, I understand the logic with Pascal Siakam. I mean, Draymond said he got his ass kicked by Pascal Siakam in finals. Right. With that being said, what Caruso has done, I played with LeBron James. I played with Anthony Davis. I was in the NBA championship too. I seen it. I know what it takes to get there. I know what it takes to win it. And one of the main reasons why they're there is because of their defense. And he's a huge part of that.
100%. I just don't disagree with that. My only thing is that when it comes to those like big game, big shot moments, Especially because I'm gonna be real with you. Like Halliburton has shown me that he's one of the most clutch players of all time. I don't give a damn what anybody has to say. What he's able, players hitting game winning. He basically hit a buzzer beater in the finals, almost like as close as you could possibly get to a buzzer beater. How many players have really done that in like the finals? Jordan. I can't think. Huh?
Jabbar did it in 71 against the Celtics. A buzzer beater.
Right? A buzzer beater, a virtual buzzer beater. Like LeBron's never done that. Kobe's never done that. Like, you know, I think Steph Curry's, I saw a statistic where it's like game winning or tying shots. He's 1 of 1. LeBron's 0 of 7. You know, and LeBron to me is one of the most clutch players of all time. I don't care what anybody has to say about that. Right. But still, like for Halliburton to have 1 of 1, also to have like 4 game winners in a playoff run is like virtually unheard of.
Bowling ball size nuts to do
like,
that, yo.
I mean, come on. Like, what are we talking about? You're talking about
bowling ball nuts to do that.
I'm just saying this to me. What I'm watching right now
around with those things.
I'm just saying he just seems like one of those ones right now where you give the ball at the end of the game. To me, he's the most clutch player in the league right now. Because if you're doing it, then I'm gonna call you that. Like you doing it when it matters the most. The lights are shining on you, and you're hitting a game-winning shot in the finals. And when you're
by the way.
Come on, like the other, OKC look at each other like, what do we do? Okay, just give it to Shea. Okay, let him make a play, right? And then, you know, the Pacers. This is what they do. This is what they've been doing all the playoffs.
We got a great series, brother. Good to talk to you, my man.
For sure, man. Take care, guys. See you guys soon, eh?
It's a great series.
No doubt.
Man, we got a lot of people talking different. now.
Sure, I think Pacers in 4 is more likely than OKC in 5, though. Do want to say, make sure I say that.
So you like the Pacers winning? You like the Pacers winning 4 straight, as opposed to Oklahoma City winning 4 straight?
Yeah, I think. Well, just how it's already said, how the Pacers already went and got one in Oklahoma City. I think it's more likely that they win 3 more than OKC wins 4 straight. I've said it already. I don't think OKC is as good as everybody else thinks they are. That's all. No big deal. So it's no big deal at all. It's just how I feel about OKC. I'm not sold on them like that. Let me see. Let me get context up here. What's up,
yo, what's the word?
What up?
What's going on? Hold on, fellas. Salute. First of all, real quick. If Damo is the the CEO of the Halliburton gang, chill. When did we have the conversation, brother? When did we have the Steve? And I see that the panel decided to have that Steve Nash conversation. So let's get back to this real quick. First of all, salute, fellas. What's going on? Salute, my brothers. What's going on? Top of the morning.
What's up, Tex? Steve Nash conversation.
Real quick. No. Let me I'll talk about game 1. I want to kind of focus on OKC. I'm gonna be honest with you. Or as well as Indiana played, and they're a great team. Y'all know how I feel about Indiana. I think Indiana has shades. I think it's a mixture. Real quick, just to shout out Indiana. I think they have shades of the New Jersey Nets with Jason Kidd. I see a little bit of the Phoenix Sun with some of the player profiles. Like Obi Toppin reminds me of like the Sean Marion thing. I think honestly, Indiana is really missing a full pick and dive guy. If I'm Indiana, I go for Kuminga and just have him run like Amari Stoudemire, short pick and rolls. Boom.
Wait, Tex, are you talking about making moves? Indiana making moves? They're in the finals.
I'm talking about for them to reach their final potential, in my opinion. I feel like all they really need is a roller, a strong roller to complement Miles Turner. But let me focus on OKC a little bit. I want to focus on OKC. I think that OKC didn't expect. I think they played with their foot a little bit. I think causing all those turnovers.
Not a little bit. They did 100%.
A lot bit. I think they definitely played with their food, and I think it's not. I don't think it's surprising if they do reel off 4 straight. Because to be honest with you, if OKC runs through their offense, because there was some points where SJ wasn't on the floor, and iHeart is still hitting Isaiah Joke with backdoor cuts. Like they were still running through some of their offense. It was just they just didn't hit their shots at certain times. You know what I mean? Indiana started playing defense. They started speeding up. OKC really just missed a lot of shots. And I mean, Lou Dort was hitting threes. They have enough offense for them to carry over. The thing of what Indiana that is great about Indiana is that anybody can explode. And to what Damo said, Halliburton's play style is very much like Steve Nash, where his dribble style is not towards scoring. His dribble style is towards facilitating. So you're never playing him. It's kind of similar how you play Stephen Curry's shot. You can't go up tight on Steph because Steph can go by you, right? Or you can't sag on him. Same thing with Tyrese Halliburton. You can't play him too tight because he can kind of wiggle around you a little bit and kind of use his speed. But then he's so pass heavy that you're looking, all right, is he going to pass? Is he going to pass? That's why that jump shot was wide open. Same thing like Damo said. You can see it clear as day. As soon as he had the ball, everybody on the defense, OKC said, well, he's been giving it to everybody the whole time. He's not going to take this shot. That's what his play style looks like. It looks like he's never going to take the shot. And that's what makes him so dangerous. His style is so unorthodox. Somebody said that he looks like Steve Urkel playing basketball. It's pretty accurate.
For some of y'all that don't know, so for some clarification, so context said that Halliburton's floor is Steve Nash. Like he thinks he could be that good. He ain't say he was better than him. So let's make sure we clear on that. He said that he thinks he could be Steve Nash good. That's what he said his floor was. All right.
So let me say this, Chill, and I'll end with this real quick. I think what Tyrese Halliburton's ceiling is, and remember, we had the conversation of what I think he should do to get better, get stronger, work on a couple of dribbling, snake dribbles so he can get into the lane to hold up defenders, which we've been seeing, right? Getting to that little mid-range jump shot. And like I said, for me, his shot creation style is going to be very much like Kevin Martin, Steph Curry, getting off the ball, quick hits, not a lot of dilly-dallying, very 1-2, and it's going to be very awkward and funky, but he's going to get to it. I think he's going to have some games when he gets like the grown man body, he's going to have some explosions that's going to be Curry-like. 8 threes a game, 10 threes. We've seen little flashes here and there, but I think that jump shot is too quick. It's too quick, and he can get it off whenever he feels like it. It just looks off. You know what I mean? It looks off. And KD
you gotta remember he's also like Tyrese. He gets it off quick, but he's also 6'5", 6'6". So
exactly, for sure.
It's always but Tex, I keep asking you, but please stop bringing up Kevin Martin. Thank you.
my bad.
I'm sick of hearing
here's the funny thing. So I ran into Andre Jackson from the Bucks. He actually picked the Pacers. Shout out to Andre Jackson. He actually picked the Pacers to get game 1. So shout out to him for knowing. He probably got the script or something like that. And one more final thing, because the Knicks lost, I'm wearing this the whole finals. Bricks. Shout out to Cannibals, man. New York Bricks. Y'all stink. Y'all stink. Get Tips out of here.
All right, Tech.
Let's go, Chill. My man, good to see you, fellas.
Later,
yo, wait a second. Don't go nowhere.
Yeah.
No, don't go nowhere. No. Put that shirt down. Because y'all, Tex gonna act like he wasn't supporting the Knicks.
I'm out.
Yeah, he leaving now. I got chill. You know, I got Tex in the group chat. We got an NSB group chat, and he was in there supporting the Knicks. I called him out in a Brooklyn Nets stream, and now he's not with the Knicks. All right. Let me get to these super chats, y'all. Man. That was crazy. I can't believe that. Cowboy Bob says, Royal Ivy is my choice for head coach. Go New York, go.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Cowboy Bob also said, not trading Cat. We running it back. No trades. Go New York, go.
Change the offense.
Man, chill. I'm talking to my mom about that the other day, and I'm just like, they don't run anything. It's just Jalen Brunson, ping, 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 ping. You can't win like that. He's 5'10". Can we move the ball?
Yeah.
I don't think people understand that when you're already a great scorer, if you run offense to get you better looks, you'll be a better scorer.
Get you even better.
Yeah. You know what? Classic, you're right. You right, Classic. Matter of fact, I take that back. We need to be coaching instead of these dudes. What's going on? Eric Espinoza. What's up, fellas? If the Pacers end up winning this series, which one is better between them and the 2011 Mavericks?
Probably the 2011 Mavericks. I mean, they beat the world champs, swept the world champs, matter of fact. And I mean, to beat that Heat team, they were down in that series too, by the way. They were down 2-1. And to come back and win 3 of the next 4 games, yeah, I think it's the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah.
Man, come on, yo. Y'all need to just let this Sean Marion stuff go in the chat, please. Please let it go. All Dubs, no L's became a YouTube member. Shout out to you. And the final super chat of the day comes from Derek Montgomery. Said, Ox, we need Ox Court for your boy C Web. Derek, I don't know what you're talking about. There is no Ox Court. Ox Court does not exist. But hey, maybe we could talk about C Web some other time. We still got quite a bit of people in the chat, still got a full lobby, but I hit up Claire. She's not allowing me to go any longer. I'll try to get a 15-minute extension, and she's not going for it, y'all. So y'all come back on Thursday, please. Let me see who's still here. I'll see y'all. If y'all click, I'll get y'all in first. If y'all click on the link on Thursday, man. Just the time restraint, y'all. Apologies. Check y'all next time. But in the meantime, that's all we got, y'all. We got to get moving. See y'all on playback tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Chill.
We know where to find you guys at. We'll see you guys soon. Until then, put on the suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. And if you're ever in the Portland area, you had too much to drink, hit my man up. He'll make sure that you get home. He got you. So we will see you guys soon. But until then, take it light. Take it. Absolutely.
Peace, y'all. We'll check y'all tomorrow on playback. Don't be late for game 2. We'll see y'all on the panel on Monday, y'all, man. Take care of yourself, drink some water, and never drink or drive, y'all. See y'all later.